Hello and welcome. My name is Lorraine Ham, and this is Living Your Best Life. Today, I have the extreme pleasure to be sharing with you one of my dear friends, Clea Annecchiarico. I had it, and I'll let her say it. I had it perfect off camera. We are going to be talking about the illusion of reality. Clea has been communicating with our highest selves in the 25th dimension. And I want her to share with you some of the information that she's been receiving, which is amazing and really heart-opening in the expansiveness that it brings to our awareness. So welcome, Clea. I am so thrilled you are here. And gosh, you have been receiving such profound information that truly opens up our awareness of the truth. And I mean the big T truth, the big kahuna of truth that is expanding even further. And you know, I'm always on the edge of expanding my reality and what I believe to be true all the time. So please introduce yourself, share with the star seeds and light workers and everyone who is seeking to expand who you are, what you do, and enlighten us further, please.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I am so excited about being here because I am super excited. First of all, as you know, I love chatting with you about anything. Somehow we always come up with interesting stuff, but also because you told me that we'd be talking about the nature of reality, and I've been on a roller coaster ride myself for the past several months and discovering things that I had no idea about. So I am super excited about sharing this with your viewers. So just very briefly, again, I am Clea Annecchiarico. I did not expect you to know how to pronounce my last name.
Annecchiarico.
Yes, thank you.
Annecchiarico.
And that actually is very good. Thank you. I am a multi-passionate individual, as many of us. So I did not expect to be able to all of a sudden connect with the 25th dimension. I am curious and interested in many aspects of human nature. So I've always been seeking, but I am also very 3D person in many ways. I'm an entrepreneur. I speak about narcissistic relationships, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just interested in a lot of different things. And so what happened to me is that last year, I had the opportunity to do a QHHT hypnosis session, which for anyone who's familiar with this concept or is not familiar with this concept might know Dolores Cannon. She was the one that came up with this process of getting you to a certain level in your hypnosis. And all of a sudden, normally people who go through this process, they connect with their higher self who will tell them things about their specific life. I am not super interested in my specific life in the sense that I feel very much, you know, in control of what happens within reason. We don't control anything really, or at least at this level. But what happens, so because of that, one thing I've always wanted is the truth. And because I've always been asking for the truth, I connected with the 25th dimension. Now, why does this matter? Why is it a difference between, was there a difference between connecting with the 25th dimension and anything else? Because the 25th dimension, as you mentioned, is where all our highest selves reside, is where we are all from. It is the highest dimension, is right next to God. So just to give a little summary of what's going on, God created, source, call it whatever you want, energy, this loving energy created us. And we are just floating around. We are essence. We're not even souls. The souls is a concept that we created on this planet. It actually implies separation. Whereas in reality, we're all essence. We're all one. We're like, the way they explained it to me, we're like air, which means that you cannot separate air. And that's exactly how we are. And we get bored because it's eternal. Life is eternal. And so we're just hanging out there. There's nothing. There's just us. And so we decided we're going to do this great thing to entertain ourselves. We were going to create what we call reality, which is the matrix. And the matrix is everything that we created below the 25th dimension. Now, a lot of people think that this is because of religion. A lot of people believe that it was God that created the earth, the planets. What I was told is that God doesn't really get involved with us because it's a game. And so it's a 25th dimension. It's us. We have created the entire matrix. So we created all civilizations the way that we look, us, aliens, everybody, the way everybody looks. We created these bodies, we created these planets, and we created the whole cosmos. And now God has created a couple of other things. For example, God created angels, but angels are not what we think they are. Angels are like, let's almost say like, I'm not a video gamer, but they use a lot of video gaming explanations. So I'm going to explain this as well as I can. Angels are almost like shields or swords that you can buy, things that you can buy in a video game to help you. And they are real, but they're not essence like us, okay? And they can be on both sides. You can use them on both sides. Basically, it's almost like, again, a piece that you buy to help yourself. You don't buy angels. I'm using a video game terminology. But basically what happens is that I was told that this is all a game we do, again, to entertain, to distract ourselves, to make time pass. And of course, even billions of years in these dimensions, in the matrix are nothing compared to eternal life. We cannot, our 3D minds cannot even wrap our minds around the concept of eternity. Let me tell you, I got the feeling it was very, very boring. So nothing is going on. So this is entertaining for us. Now, of course, on this planet, things have gone south, like it happens on a lot of 3D planets, because there are two teams, the team of the dark, the team of the light, and the team of the dark. Somehow they're better players in some ways, and they got a head start. And we, as the team of the light, decided that we were just going to use this super duper strategy. We were going, instead of like, they do one thing, we do one thing, we were going to let them get ahead, and then we're going to infiltrate them, and then we're going to turn the game in our favor. Well, that has backfired. And all of a sudden we find ourselves in a very unbalanced reality towards the dark. And this is why we're taking this down. So this might be, I know it is a lot of information if this is the first time you've heard this. That's why I split my stuff down among, in several videos. And I have a ton of new videos actually coming out about this because I just got a ton of more information. But the bottom line is this. Here's what I've learned. And I'll say it just in a few words. Everything we believe is real is not. And everything that we think is not real is real. This is pretty much what I've learned over the past several months from connecting with the 25th. And I can explain, if you're interested, more about why we create reality, for example, on a 3D planet the way we do. Would you like me to go more in detail in this, or do you have specific questions you'd like to cover?
Well, I will have you go into further detail about that. As my audience knows, I am always saying everything I think I know may or may not be real. And I've come to understand over the last few months, partly from listening to what knowledge and information you've brought forth, that nothing I think is real is real. And that in and of itself is a mind-blowing, expanding concept, because it causes us to completely dismantle the structures that we've held on, our mind structures, that the structures that we build our entire self-awareness upon. And that now is being completely collapsed, brought down, dismantled. And I love that you, the word essence, because I have always said that we are fractals of the divine. We're individual expressions of a greater field of energy, and so that information just is confirmation to what I've always known to be true. I will put all of Clea's information in the link below, and while you're at it, looking down there, please like, share, and subscribe, and go over to Clea's channel with the link below to keep up on. She keeps connecting with the 25th and bringing forward more and more information that truly will assist us in releasing ourselves or untangling ourselves from what we believe to be true, and preparing us to move into the trifurcation, which we've talked about on this channel, of choice, where we are choosing to go. There was one other point I wanted to bring forth. I hate it when stuff just is so much great information comes forward. Your mind has a hard time holding on to what it was thinking it wanted to say. Anyway, we'll come back to that. But Clea, please, yes, share with us, the viewers, how this reality was, why it was formed in the way it was formed. You mentioned the dark and the light. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. I have memory of actually creating worlds from my thought, and just waving my hands and creating an entirety of existence, a game board, if you will, of a reality for us to play within. And I also have remembrance of absolute destruction of realities, and feeling a great sense of loss and grief and shame over that. But I wanted to share with you, Clea, you bringing forth the information that you have has helped me to release that guilt and shame that I carried for millennia, because it didn't matter. The truth is that destruction was just the destruction of a game that needed to be created somewhere else. So fascinating thing. So yes, please share the information about the nature of this reality and why we created it.
And if you don't mind, I do want to comment on what you just said, because I just got information about, so this, we have only taken down a game board. We're getting ready to take down this game board. And the civilization, that's the trifurcation you were referring to, all of us, there is no collective anything. There are different groups doing different things in the future, because that's free will. So one of the things that we hear a lot is like, oh, as a collective, we're all awakening. All these things are not real. This information comes from within the matrix. So it's part of the game. As a game, we have something to aim for. The 25th calls it, it's almost like you want an outcome to the game. So the outcome to the game, which was created by the light to motivate people to stay on the team of the light, was that we're ascending, we're awakening. These are game rules. In reality, again, we're just here playing. The reason I want to bring this up is because there have been 2 other universes that have done this before. The only 2. This taking down of a game board has only been done 2 other things. And you said you felt guilty about, the destruction, etc. I was so upset for several days when I found out that the reason we're taking this down is not because we are getting better, we're ascending. Again, there's none of that. The reason we're taking this particular game board down is because we failed, okay? And people might not like that, but that's exactly what's happened. And again, it's a game. It's not, at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. But why? What's happening? Normally on other dimensions, in other places, they are able to recalibrate. So when they are ready to do a jump in awareness, it's not quite a jump in consciousness, we can call it consciousness, but truly it's a jump in awareness, they're able to recalibrate. And so they don't have to take down the board. So they go they evolve very slowly. So there are no dramatic shifts. We have not been able to do this for the simple reason the dark has always been ahead in this game. They've always been on quote unquote winning. So when I went in to get information the last time around, I said, so are we taking this down? Does it mean that the light team got its butt kicked, basically? And so now the game is so far gone, we can't fix it anymore. I said, does it mean the dark team won this game? It's almost like we're playing a soccer game and we're 21-1, you know? And what they said to me, again, speaking to your sense, I can tell that you're very connected to your sense of guilt and loss. What they said to me, well, if you want to look at it that way, that's fine. But the truth is, nobody won. This is why we're taking down the game. The dark got so pompous, let's put it that way, so arrogant, so far ahead that they were not able to forecast what some of their strategies would turn into. So for example, the number one thing that has taken this whole game down to a really low level of awareness for everybody has been the introduction of money. The dark thought it was just like anything else they've introduced, an idea. And as an idea, as any idea from the light or the dark, you get to choose. Do you choose it? Do you not choose it? You don't have to. And unfortunately, money is something that encompassed everybody and took over free will, where we really don't have the free choice anymore to stay outside of the money system. And that's when the game really started going south. There have been other things, but the point of this is that none of us here have a 360-degree view of things. We cannot really forecast. And because of this, there have been a lot of mistakes that have been made. And because of the mistakes, that's why we have to take all of this down. And they did say, none of us are happy to take this down. There is a lot of resentment. There is a lot of sadness because we have put so much effort into this game. It's not a thing where you don't just start it in a second and you get to this point. We've gone through so many iterations. It's been fun, but not really nearly as fun as it should have been. So, and I could go on here. They gave me examples. They talked about why we've done resets in the past. A lot of people right now are interested in mud floods and time and missing time. So I will have videos on this. I don't want to take the whole time with you discussing details like this. What I wanted to say is that one of the peskiest things that we hear in the new age spirituality, and I call this the messages that are received from within the matrix. Because what happens is when you connect inside the matrix, then your mind has to filter it with what we know with our experience here. You're not getting just the truth outside, which is what did we set this up for and what's the purpose? And one of the biggest issues I have, what's happening, especially since I've gone through this in my life, so I've had to deal with the aftermath of having this limiting belief, is that in order for us to evolve, again, this idea of evolution, which doesn't really exist because we're already all ascended masters, we don't have to evolve, we're just playing. This idea that the only way we're going to ascend, awaken, whatever you want to call it, is if we suffer. This is very objectionable. And here's what the 25th, so I went to the 25th a few days ago. I connected again because what I didn't mention is that even though I connected in the beginning through hypnosis, I am now able to connect just by myself on my own through meditation. So this last one was also an hypnosis session, but now I get information continuously, just connecting. And what happens is that this has been on my mind, and whenever I have something on my mind, I will get the answer from them, even if I'm not asking specifically. And what's happening, I've been asking about the suffering. I said, where's this idea coming from? How does this work? And here's what they said to me. We don't need suffering. They've confirmed that multiple times. We do not need suffering to grow because we don't have to grow. Okay, whether you're on the team of the light or team of the dark in this lifetime, doesn't matter. It's an experience. Okay, we're just having fun. What happens is that what we did want to achieve on a 3D planet is that we wanted to slow everything down. And so when you slow everything down, especially time, how things manifest. Now, there is no time. Time is a concept we created here. It's how we describe the slowing down, okay? But why are we slowing this down? So think about it. Everything we desire is instantly manifested, including, like you said, universes, okay? Instantly manifested. And by the way, they did show me where we create them from. They showed me all the matter that we use, which is a particular type of energy that we use. So actually, I will have a video about that out soon. So I think you'll get a kick out of it, because you might actually be like, oh, that's exactly what it looked like, because they showed me this is where we go to create things. And what happens is that we want it to be different. We wanted to forget we are source. I mean, the fun in a game is that you believe in the game. It's like a play. It's like a theater play. So the whole point is we wouldn't have fun if we behaved here the same way we behave in the 25th or on a higher dimensional planet. So the way that this was fun for us is that we slow things down. So we pretend that things are very hard for us to achieve. So for example, we can create buildings from thought. We can think them complete and we can manifest them. Okay. So now instead we decided, no, that's too close to home. So we want to believe in this being a game. So we have to change all the rules. So we change the rules where now we believe that we have to put one brick here and one brick here. And then we put some paste in the middle and then we put another brick on top, and it takes a long time. But again, what is the purpose of this? One is for us to believe, right? Because it's so foreign to how we actually are, what we're capable of, that it looks very believable for us. And secondly, because we're really curious about, is the slowing down, and why is that? Because when you slow down stuff, you have the ability, it's almost like watching a movie, watching a video and freezing a frame. You have the ability to hone in and truly study what's happening in that frame. And therefore, we have a much greater understanding. We really have learned a lot because we have a much greater understanding of things. So for example, say that I was dealing with an emotional matter. This wouldn't really be happening at a higher dimensional level, but say that I'm dealing with an emotional matter I'm trying to understand. I might be stuck on this problem for 5 years. And for example, my dark night of the soul has lasted 5 years. So that's a long time. I did a lot of work. Whereas at the end of it, it clicked. I'm like, oh, this is how it is. And I'm a completely different person now. I'm happy, I'm serene. I very much can go through a problem very quickly now. But why was that? Because we needed to break everything down very carefully to understand it, to see it. We need to see and manifest it. For example, this is why we have diseases. This is why we have other people that we might say, oh, you're bad, like people on the team on the dark, because we need to see things outside of us in a very slowed down manner in order to isolate it. Like diseases, we need to isolate it so we can study it. Whereas when we move forward, we're not going to need to do this anymore. Everything's inside of us, lightness, light and dark. And so we just have to go inside and play with our own energy. So what happens, and you probably know this, anyone who has had physical issues for a long period of time will realize what I'm about to say. What happens is that you could have a headache today and you could be miserable, but you wake up tomorrow, you're back, you're fine, no problem, it's forgotten. When do things really dive in here? When do they actually intensify? Is when all of a sudden you have a headache for 3 weeks straight. The process itself is not so much the headache anymore. The length of time that it takes to go through this, what we call length of time, wears you out. Being in pain for long periods of time, whatever it is, it might be low back pain, whatever it is, that's what wears you out beyond even the stimulus of the headache or the back pain itself. So why do we do this? Because we want to understand, we want to study it, and because we don't realize that we have the ability to stop that at any time, we continue going through it until we realize that. So what happened is that we were not interested in the suffering. We do not need suffering. Suffering adds no value to us in any way. What happened is that because we want to have these things trespass or transpire over long periods of time, suffering ensues. But suffering was never the goal. You don't have to suffer. If you, for example, realize your low back pain is tied to XYZ, and you realize that in 1 minute, after 1 minute, you're done with your low back pain. This is really as simple as it gets. Except on this planet, we want to make things look the opposite of what they normally look. Another example they gave me, which blew my mind. I asked them, I said, so do we still have free energy? Or is it true now that we, well, I asked, is it true? Actually, this is Mark's question. Mark, I don't know if you've heard him ask this question before. He was curious. He goes, I am sure that the electric companies, they put up these towers, they're only connecting to free energy, and then they just mirror it and make us pay for it. So I asked about this. I said, is it true that we still have free energy? And is it true that these companies are just tapping into it and then making us pay for it? And this is the answer they gave me, which was so interesting for me. They said, of course, everything is free energy. It's everywhere. You just have to tap in. What happens is because we wanted to make things look difficult, slow them down. We now need to use 99 steps to get a result instead of just using one step. And so, for example, we do set up these towers, but we believe it. We set up these towers. We have to have people go work on the towers. We have to connect stuff underground. We have to go find it somewhere. We have to make everything difficult because we don't want to remember. We don't want to know. This would ruin the fun of the game for us if we realize, just like that, with your thought, you have access to free energy. So I found this very, well, first of all, it confirmed my view that we are being told that there is value in suffering. This sounds like a very religious concept to me. This is not true. Our power actually is connected to our passion and our joy. Because, of course, full acceptance of ourselves, we do have darkness inside of us, but it's only our rejecting this darkness, not wanting to go inside, that makes it look so bad, because it gets manifested outside of us. So it gets manifested in people that behave certain ways towards us. It gets manifested in institutions that are evil. It gets manifested in governments, politicians that behave certain ways, because we don't want to admit that we have all these tendencies inside of us. The second we do that, which is where we're moving towards, at least the people going to New Earth, which is not everybody, then, we're not going to have to deal with any of this.
So on that, you've given us so much. I hope that you out there in the audience are taking notes, because so much of this is so rapidly unfolding or dismantling. I'd like you to expand on the dark and light. So the dark team and the light team. I talk a lot about the fact that we are, all of us, every essence, dark or light, are all essence of the divine. So you alluded at some point where you said that we've chosen to be either on the dark or the light. Can you please expand on that?
Yes. So we are equal in terms of value add. This is a game. We are all friends. The way they explained it to me is pretend that you are gathering with 19 of your friends. So there's 20 of you, you're hanging out at your house, having a great time. You love your friends, having a blast, and you're thinking, hey, why don't we do this? Let's play a game of cowboys and Indians. Okay. And you randomly assign 10 people to be cowboys and 10 people, including you, to be Indians. And then you separate, you go in different rooms so you can strategize what you're going to do. And then you start your game. There's no judgment. It's not like you all of a sudden hate the people that are playing the cowboys. It's not that you think they're bad people. They're just your friends. And when you're done playing with this game, you're going back to chit-chatting and say, hey, we had such a great time. This is exactly how reality works. What we're here to do is we're playing a game with our friends. Indeed, not only the dark team is just as high consciousness as the light team. There is no difference. But also, there is no judgment. Therefore, you can pick to be, whether you want to be on the team of the light and the dark. It just depends on the type of experience you want to experience. Now, I know this is a very caustic argument to take in all at once, because we judge, right? We are judging here. Not only when we want to be on the team of the light, we think, oh my God, that's really evil. And vice versa. The people on the team of the light think that we are sheep and we deserve to be, to be called. So everybody's playing the part, their role properly. At the same time, though, when when push comes to shove, there really is no judgment on your life. You go on and try something new, and you can switch teams at any time. Even in this dimension, you can switch teams. There is no, you don't carry, that's another concept from New Age, which again, it comes from religion. A lot of the New Age spirituality, it's really religion, non-institutionalized. Basically, they took a lot of their cues from religion, because a lot of this was created by the dark team. They were noticing that a lot of people were not religious anymore, and they wanted to capture these people. So they created this loosey-goosey version of religion, which is New Age spirituality. I'm not saying everything in New Age spirituality is negative, just like I'm not saying everything in religion is negative, but a lot of it is corrupt. A lot of it is not light. And what happens is that there is this idea of karma, which is what I wanted to get to. There is this idea that if we do certain things, somebody or something is out there to get us. Okay, why is this? Because they're wanting you to behave in certain ways. Just like the idea of hell, right? Which is completely made up. There is no such thing. And so this idea is also not real. You don't have to do things through karma. Now, if you believe in karma, you're going to get it. Whatever you believe in, that's going to be your reality. Okay. If you believe in hell, you will literally pass over and continue and have to have that experience. Okay. You will experience it, because it's all for our experiential growth. Again, not from perspective of essence. We don't need to grow in that sense, but we do grow in knowledge, right? This is fun. So from that perspective, you will experience whatever you're interested in experiencing. And you've had a video about this where you talked about the fact that some people want to experience negative entity attacks, for example, but those are not necessarily real. And what I mean by this is that, again, these are all ideas. Each team throws out an idea, comes up with an idea and offers it to the public. Okay. Then the public, each person in the public can choose, do I want to espouse this idea? Do I want to believe it or not? For example, a lot of people don't believe in, don't believe in certain diseases. They will never have to deal with them. Okay. And you might think, oh my God, diseases are real. They're objective. They might be objective for you if you think that, but not necessarily for other people. I, for example, do not believe in some very popular diseases these days. And guess what? I'm never going to get it because it's not even part of my field of energy. So what happens is that this is the idea behind these ideas, behind these new rules that we come up with. We create new rules all the time. And so there is no karma unless you believe in it. If you believe, oh my goodness, I did this, I feel very guilty that I did this, something is going to happen. Well, guess what? You're calling that into your reality. Now, let me say something. This is another thing about New Age spirituality, which again is very similar to religion. They want you to feel guilty. So they make you feel like if something bad happens to you, you caused it. Because somehow there's something wrong with you. You called it upon yourself. You deserve it. You're a bad person. Do you see the theme? It's always that you're bad, you're doing something wrong. While I understand that we do create everything with our thoughts, it does not mean that we are perfect and we can avoid everything. The fact is, we do want to be here. We do want to believe in the game. Very often we pick up diseases or aches or pains or even things that we consider bad, like bad relationships, because it's an idea out there. And we decided that in order for us to believe in this game, we wanted to pick up that idea. And I've literally asked for myself, because I do suffer from low back pain, much less recently, which is interesting because I've done a lot of work on that. And they told me is because Clea let these blobs, they call it the blobs of energy, and they do speak about me in the third person. It's very funny. Clea wanted to believe that she was here, so she decided to let these blobs of negative energy attach to her. So does it mean I'm an idiot? Okay. No, and that's the message I wanna get across here. We're not here saying, oh, if you're manifesting something, it's because you're doing something wrong. You know, you manifest something you don't want. We do want to believe we're alive. We do want to believe this is real, and therefore we're going to let certain things get to us. It doesn't matter. Don't beat yourself up. The whole point here is that you're not doing anything wrong. The only thing is, if you don't like it, do something different. That's it. Or figure out where it's coming from. That's it. That's the whole point. Forget what everybody's saying about karma, about you call this on yourself. Okay, you know, we live in a 3D reality because we have wanted to forget a lot. So we can just, you know, allow ourselves some compassion.
I actually grew up in New Thought. My mother grew up in New Thought. And yes, New Thought organizations, they fall to the same trap that is the ego investment that is part of this 3D structure. The identity ego investment. They get leaders that have followers that, I mean, it happens in every walk of life. So yes, I've been dealing with dis-ease for 40 years. And in that 40 years, I have been told that I create my own reality, and then I have been shamed and guilted because I know better. I know that I'm the creator of my reality, and I should uncreate it instantly. Now, I have done, and I have said, it was one of the greatest gifts that I gave to myself, truly, is dis-ease, because out of that, I made my game more interesting. My game forced me to grow and learn and acquire knowledge and information that I wouldn't have otherwise. Now that, who knows, my life could have been different. It certainly would have been had I not had it, but apparently that's not the game I wanted to play. And I think the one thing coming out of this expanded knowledge is that we all have to realize that we are fun-loving essence creatures of the divine, and we're all here because we wanted to be here to play the game. And there's no evil, there's no good, there just is. And we're all, I love the cowboys and Indians analogy, because the truth is that's really it. We've decided this group is going to be in opposition to us, and therefore we're going to interact in this state of opposition, in this slowed down time reality, because we're fun-loving creatures that just wanted to see what would happen. I love that, Clea. I think that the knowledge that you're bringing forth in the nature of our reality, who we are, could you please expand on and discuss the other dimensional games? Because you've touched on these other dimensions. We're from the 25th and we're living in the 3rd, 4th. All those in between are those other games that are being played out by the fun-loving creatures.
Good question, because that's another thing we get told all the time. And of course, from our 3D brain, that's all we can grasp, is that we believe that civilizations that are in higher dimensions are better than us. Somehow we get told all the time they're here to save us because we're such little puny, you know, almost animals. It's very funny. I laugh now when I hear certain messages come through. And these are supposed to be loving messages. We're here to help you because you're basket cases. But here's the fact. Here's the truth. We are all the same. We're all from the 25th dimension. I don't care if this message is getting broadcast on the Pleiades right now, and they happen to be in the 9th dimension. We are all the same, okay? They don't know more than we do. Here's how it works. This is also new information that I got. I haven't even put out there yet. So your viewers will be the first ones to hear this. The way that they explained how we decide where we go is that these are all games, even on other planets, in other dimensions. What happens is that we have all knowledge at the 25th. When you choose to incarnate, quote unquote, in the Pleiades, for example, 9th dimension, you will forget the appropriate amount of information so that you can fit in with what that planet wants to know. Now, there are exceptions, just like when we had Jesus here. He obviously knew a lot more than the average incarnation, the average body here. But he wasn't better at an essence level than us. In fact, that was his entire message. You are all the same as me. Now, I don't know the exact words he used, but that was his message. That's why we got rid of him very quickly, because, we didn't want to hear that, right? We have rejected him because he basically was telling us that the 25th was real. Basically was telling us, we can create anything. And we didn't want to know that because that wouldn't make you believe in the game. He was too close to home. He was giving us too much truth. These days we want to hear these things. I think the reason we want to hear them is because, we don't balk like we would have balked back then as a society, for the simple reason that we are getting ready to take this down. So everybody's going to know one way or the other, or most people are going to know this is a game. What happens is that what we are told, what happens is when we come to the third dimension, we happen to forget more than somebody going to the Pleiades. Because in the Pleiades, for example, in any dimension above the third, it is a known fact that we are particles of source. Spirituality is all pervasive in the matrix, except then on 3D planets, which when you think about it without judgment, we are the ones having the biggest blast. In fact, they said that because we're so far away, we basically even denied our own nature. So in fact, this came up where they said, imagine atheists, and I used to be an atheist for 30 years, okay? Imagine an atheist. You are a fragment of source. You are literally source inside. You have source inside of you, and you decide that you're going to pretend that God doesn't exist. I mean, they were cracking up when they were giving us this, they were giving us this information. They said, these people are the ones having the biggest blast. Imagine that. Where else are you going to have this experience? You're never going to have it anywhere else. In any other planet above 3D, everybody knows that we're spiritual because it's who we are. So the bottom line is that every planet has chosen to have different rules in the game. And so when we consider higher consciousness, is simply that they want to believe their game is a little bit closer to home. However, that's not to say that, for example, at the Pleiades level, they're getting this information that I'm getting from the 25th. And by the way, this is not to say I'm special. Lots of people are getting this. But as a society, not everybody's aware of this information. Why? Because they want to believe in the game. That's the whole point of having the game in the first place. So while they might have, compared to us, a higher level of awareness in terms of certain things, they might already know not to exclude people where they become all evil. You are all light, you think you're all light, you got no dark side of you. That's maybe the higher level of awareness. And you know what, now, as I think about it, I will ask about how their game works, because I'm actually curious to see what beliefs they have. So I'll dig into that, I'll let you know. But it doesn't mean they are better than us. At the essence level, we're all the same. We could, after this lifetime, you and I could go and incarnate on the Pleiades. And what we'll do is we'll remember the exact amount of information we need for that, and no more than that. Because the point is not to go there and ruin the game for everybody.
So that creates the question of, when we bring this game board down, are we bringing down all of it? In every dimension, in every reality, all of it's a game. It's all the creation of this one giant game. Because if it weren't part of the game, we wouldn't be aware of the Pleiades. or the other beings. So is this entirety coming down and being recreated?
That's a very good question. No, that's not what's going to happen. While you are referring correctly to the matrix as the big game, we are a piece of the matrix. So it's almost like you have multiple game boards next to each other, if you want to think of planets that way. And our planet, our specific game board is coming down. We already have it. Other planets waiting for us. This is what a lot of people refer to as New Earth, which is nothing like we've heard. It's not 5D. First of all, New Earth is 7D, and the planet is there, but Gaia is still here with us. So Gaia is the one that's going to move on and go to that planet when we take this down. If she were gone, the world would be, this planet would have already crumbled. So it's not that she's there waiting for us, okay? She's going to go when we go, when we take this down. So the other planets are not really, now, are they affected by this? You betcha. They are all watching, actually, because they don't know what's going to happen to us. We have a very, quote unquote, bad reputation because we have done a lot of dark things. A lot of reptilians are on this planet. In fact, it was explained to me the reptilians are the dark team. Which doesn't mean that if you're on the side of the dark or straddling a line as a human that you are a reptilian all of a sudden. It doesn't mean that. However, some of us have had that experience in the past where we have been reptilians, because again, we're all the same. We can jump in and out and try different things. The reptilians, actually, I was told, so the most interesting phenomenon event in the multiverse right now is the fact that we're taking this down. As I said, it's only been done twice in the multiverse before. Hopefully it will never happen again because it's not good, okay? It's what it is though at this point. The second most interesting event that people are watching everywhere is the quote unquote ascension of the reptilians. The reptilians are also ascending. They're not going to be doing this anymore because again, they won't have to believe in this isolation where they're just bad all the time. Because you see, as we pretend that we're only light, we are leaving these people, these individuals, to be only dark. And so they have nowhere to go. They believe that what they have to do is go deeper and deeper into this darkness instead of letting stuff flow, which is really how the universe works. It's all energy. In fact, it's more than just energy. And this is what I was going to tell you, that they showed me how we create things. It's not so much energy as it is energy in motion. So what is that? It's music. They showed me that the universe was created through music, through musical notes. In fact, even in the future, people on New Earth, excuse me, we will communicate. Now, we will not communicate with each other because we don't need to. We will feel each other. We don't even use telepathy. But when we use telepathy or we use language, even me using language with you right now, what I'm really doing is I am converting music and you hear it a certain way. So it's fascinating. It blew my mind, this last connection I had. I have a lot of info to bring out. Yeah.
So I actually know that when I was creating worlds, I was singing them into being. I was
like I have chills.
Them through tone and frequency.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So,
I love it.
One of the things that has been broken in me is my voice to sing, which after you had told me the message from the 25th for me that I have forgotten who I am, and that I am capable, loosely interpreted, was that I had this awareness that singing brought me so much joy when I was a child that I needed to start singing again. So as croaky and bad as it sounds, my husband the other day, I was listening to my headphones and I was singing a song and he's like, go outside, go somewhere else. But what I got from all of that is that I really do. I've blocked myself from one of the things that gave me the greatest joy. So music is truly what creates. I knew that, and now you've confirmed it. Okay, so I would love to keep you on here for hours and hours, but I would like you to share with the audience any last words that you would like to impart, and then we can always bring Clea back. So, all right, please share your final thoughts.
So give me a second, because I have never done this before, but let me see if they just say something, because sometimes they will, and when we ask questions like you did, they will just answer. Let's see, what's the message for our viewers? Okay. So everything that you have always wanted is going to happen. So we are going to have exactly what we wanted. So everything that you've been waiting for, that seems so difficult, so hard to get here, is coming, and it's coming very, very soon. I'm gonna get emotional. I'm getting emotional here. They're really sending this through, which is what everything we have longed for, everything that we have desired for our lifetime, which really, what is it? It's our reconnection, to source, which is where all our power comes from. It's coming. It is so close. So just hang in there. Whatever you're going through, take it at face value, as in, this is the last time we'll ever have to deal with this. In fact, try to enjoy it. That's what they told me. They said, you want to focus on 3D because you've got bills to pay, etc. Enjoy it. You get to do this for the last time. So take it as this is a sign of your extreme power, what you've created for yourself. Enjoy the last bits of it, because we're moving on.
What a hope-filled message. All right, everyone. Thank you so much, Clea. And until next time, this is Living Your Best Life. My name is Lorraine Ham, and please like, share, and subscribe.